Milwaukee Bucks caught everyone off guard by firing their rookie head coach Adrian Griffin despite ranking second in the East.
The Milwaukee Bucks came into the 2023-2024 season with sky-high expectations after acquiring Damian Lillard to pair with Giannis Antetokounmpo. But they stunned the NBA by firing rookie coach Adrian Griffin just a handful of games into the season, despite sitting second in the East. At first glance, it didn't make sense, but after a deeper look, the truth is far more complex. Defense and schematic clashes. The Bucks' defense had declined from its normal elite levels under Griffin to outside the top 10 in efficiency for years under former coach Mike Budenholzer. They ran a conservative drop coverage against pick and rolls, with Brook Lopez sinking into the paint and effectively daring teams into mid-range shots. Reports indicated Griffin wanted to ditch the conservative drop scheme and have Lopez be more aggressive on screens, but the early film shows Lopez was still mostly dropping on possessions. The real change was Griffin trying to better protect the team against three-pointers. He wanted players like Lopez to not help as much off shooters in the corners to wall off the rim against drivers. For years, the Bucks would overhelp, stunting at nearly every driver and giving up a steady dose of kick-out threes, with offensive spacing at a premium. Griffin wanted them to keep defenders disciplined closer to elite shooters' three-point range, but the schematic change clearly did not go smoothly. Lopez and others looked routinely out of position without weak-side rotations as easy help, and were visibly frustrated having to defend quicker guards isolated one-on-one off frequent penetration. The result was ugly. Milwaukee quickly surrendered by far the most points in the paint in the league, and despite less helping off shooters, the most wide-open three-point attempts as well, with backside defenders like Lopez unable to handle quick ball movement off defensive breakdowns. Historic offense masking bigger issues. Ironically, the Bucks' offense was historically great in Griffin's short tenure, leading the league with an incredible 117 offensive rating, by far a franchise record. But there were alarming signs all was not right beneath the surface once. Griffin lost one of his top assistants before the season in Terry Stotts, Lillard's coach for the previous 9 seasons. It became evident Dame didn't fully grasp Griffin's system yet, and he would get visibly frustrated at teammates not being properly spaced around him. This also affected the cohesion developing between Lillard and Lopez in the high pick and roll. On top of fit concerns, there was confusion at times over blown offensive assignments leading to ugly turnovers. Players like Giannis were caught standing in no man's land without a purpose too often, clogging up valuable driving lanes. For a team with title aspirations early on, these signs seemed to indicate a lack of continuity and discipline in the offense that was papered over by incredible high-end talent. Late in close games, the lack of discipline revealed itself as the games dragged on. Players were often seen yelling at each other for blown assignments on sets that led to contested forced shots late in possessions rather than flowing naturally into action quick and crisp. These tense moments likely led Griffin to lose trust and confidence from the team in tight contests. Pressure on Doc Rivers. When team management brought in veteran championship coach Doc Rivers early on to provide defensive consulting, the handwriting was likely already on the wall for Griffin. With his reputation as a more easygoing players coach, but also playoff failures and team chemistry issues, Rivers likely pushed hard for a change after observing the dysfunction beneath Milwaukee's strong start. Now the pressure shifts squarely onto Doc Rivers' shoulders to fix what his predecessor clearly struggled mightily with in such a short stint. The team is banking on Rivers' experience and championship pedigree to mend the communication breakdowns Griffin battled in implementing his bold vision. But Rivers must quickly earn the trust of stars Giannis and Lillard after such an unceremonious end to Griffin's tenure. That means buy-in on the more conservative Rivers-style defensive scheme, focused on protecting the paint first, and gaining alignment top to bottom on role definition and offensive principles to establish continuity fast. There will surely be short-term growing pains implementing Rivers' simpler style, but getting the defense back to nearer the elite top 5 levels of years past now becomes priority 1. Because in the end, Milwaukee's championship dreams still boil down to whether or not Rivers can squeeze every bit of magic out of his 2 talented stars when it matters most. Miscommunication and confusion on the court. Beyond just the strategic changes, there were growing signs of miscommunication and confusion among the players on the court under Griffin. Numerous times during games, players were visibly frustrated with each other. Yelling after blown assignments led to easy baskets or turnovers. Lopez in particular seems continuously exacerbated by teammates not being in the proper spots defensively in Griffin's new system. On multiple occasions, Lopez can be seen throwing his hands up and staring down teammates after their missed rotations resulted in uncontested dunks and layups. Off the ball, there also appears to be confusion on sets like pin-down screens and elevator cuts. Players seem unsure of spacing responsibilities, clogging driving lanes for Giannis and Lillard to attack downhill. This slows ball movement to a crawl at times and allows defenses to load up. Late in games, this uncertainty leads to forced hero ball shots by Milwaukee Stars, trying to bail the team out one-on-one. The fluidity and harmony of the league's best regular season offense disappears in crunch time, and the Bucks' mixture of frustration and lack of execution returned once again in their playoff demise to Miami. Questions on Griffin's coaching preparedness. Of course, much of the blame for these problems lies with Adrian Griffin himself. For a first-time head coach inheriting a championship-ready roster, the job likely proved too big in such a high-pressure situation from the start. Griffin sought to put his own stamp on the team stylistically on both ends, but those changes may have been too ambitious without the resume to command unwavering respect from players used to Budenholzer's system and finals runs. His communication skills also clearly left much to be desired. The best coaches connect with each key rotation player and have a feel for motivational tactics to extract their highest level. Griffin failed to get everyone bought into a collective team-first mentality, instead enduring frustrating isolation that boiled over routinely. Most concerning, Griffin seemed to struggle making decisive adjustments. When his initial preferred schemes struggled, beyond relying on more token zone looks, he appeared unable to problem-solve solutions to better accentuate his star's strengths and hide roster weaknesses that elite opposing coaches would continue exposing. Twin Towers alignment failure. The vision of pairing defensive anchor Brook Lopez with new acquisition, Damian Lillard, was a tantalizing one on paper. But during games, their partnership quickly revealed itself clunky and awkward under Griffin. Far too often, Lopez sets hasty screens before Lillard is ready to use them, or Lopez awkwardly fumbles quick passes from Dame on the move. This lack of precision between setter and ball handler hampered Milwaukee's typically lethal pick-and-roll attack. Equally concerning, there is little evidence of Lopez and Lillard aligning defensively either. Lillard frequently goes under screens against opposition guards, perhaps to avoid dealing with physical contact given his injury history. But this feeds into Lopez being routinely driven into by drivers with a head of steam. Opponents get deep position in the paint, leading to point-blank looks, with Lopez unable to challenge in time after dropping. There is obvious frustration from Lopez towards his new backcourt mate in these situations. For this star duo to ever live up to lofty expectations, better rapport and understanding of tendencies must still develop, especially on the less glamorous end. Bucks bench production crisis. Milwaukee's glaring roster construction weakness is a lack of secondary playmaking and shot creation off the bench. Their identity has relied on an airtight defense and starters dominating offensively. The front office clearly misjudged young players like Jordan Nwora and Grayson Allen as being ready to fill crucial playoff benches roles in a 7-game series grind. Outside starting center Bobby Portis, the Bucks get little else reliable from the second unit. The lack of supplementary scoring punch and backcourt juice has hurt Milwaukee greatly in the biggest games. Jrue Holiday is too worn down from chasing top wings to also run the second unit offense effectively himself alone. Rivers must find more balance there. With an aging thin core relying on injury luck now, the pressure is on Bucks management to reinforce the bench by deadline time. Clearing the path for another deep playoff run hinges on acquiring 1 or 2 credible shot creators who can stem the bleeding when stars sit. Rivers' job security also likely hangs in that balance. The reality now is clear in Milwaukee. Giannis and Lillard have a closing title window that could shut quicker than anyone expects. Securing a championship is truly now or never for this core. The pressure is on Doc Rivers to get more out of this talented but complicated roster and deliver the franchise's long-awaited second championship. If you enjoyed this deep dive on the Bucks' shocking coaching change, be sure to like and subscribe. There will be more great NBA analysis and commentary coming on this channel all season long as we see if Milwaukee's title dreams can get back on track or if their contending hopes are dashed for good. Thanks for watching.